For all the lies that Trump's base tolerates or ignores, there are two promises he must keep in their eyes: his pledge to build a wall and his promise to deliver on a strong economy. Brand new blockbuster reporting by the Washington Post details the stunning and quite possibly illegal lengths Trump is willing to go to get his wall. Quote, he has directed aides to fast-track billions of dollars worth of construction contracts, aggressively seize private land, and disregard environmental rules. That's according to current and former officials involved with the project. He also has told worried subordinates that he will pardon them of any potential wrongdoing should they have to break laws to get the barriers built quickly, those officials said. The president has told senior aides that a failure to deliver on the signature promise of his 2016 campaign would be a letdown to his supporters and an embarrassing defeat. Joining the table, former chief spokesman for the Department of Justice, Matt Miller. Matt Miller, I read this story 3 times. I said it because I was like, so if I were going to make up a story about how wackadoo I think it is behind the scenes, I would write this. I mean, including all the stuff about how he wants it black and spiky.
Yeah, I think the number of ethical transgressions in this story were really staggering, even for this president and this administration. You start with the fact that the money he's using to build this wall wasn't appropriated for that in the first place. It was appropriated to the Defense Department, and he's taking it, probably illegally, although courts will decide, to fund the wall. You read through the story, he has intervened in the contracting process to try to direct the contracts to politically connected donors who happen to book themselves on Fox News and are close to Republican senators. And then most worryingly...
That alone would get a normal president impeached.
Absolutely. And then most worryingly, he's trying to seize land without going through the normal process and telling his aides that he will pardon them if they break the law. And the thing that worries me the most in reading the story, the thing that's animating here, as you point out, is he thinks he has to build this wall to reassure his reelection. There are a little over 14 months to go, excuse me, between now and the general election next year. It's hard to imagine something that Donald Trump wouldn't do to try to win re-election.
There's so much to unpack, and I don't want to rush through any of it. This is the second news organization to report on the promise of a pardon around immigration policies. It would appear to me that he would like to turn to criminal conduct from U.S. federal government employees involved in the creation and enforcement of his immigration policies to win re-election. That would seem to me to render the entire debate that's taken place in the Democratic Party around whether or not to commence impeachment proceedings around abuse of power as quaint.
Yeah, forget everything that Bob Mueller showed us in his report. This in itself, this in itself is just an impeachable offense, directing people to break the law.
The last one, I think Annie Carney reported in the New York Times that he had offered pardons to folks involved in the building of the wall.
That's absolutely true, and this is clearly on its face to me impeachable. I'm not a lawyer, you are, but it just seems like it is. And I guess I would point out to any employees who are willing to take this advice, correct me if I'm wrong, but when you break a federal law, you're often also breaking a state law. A lot of state laws, and he has no pardon power over that.
So the other thing that worries me about this story is that Trump does seem to be winning in the bureaucracy in the way that he couldn't before. John Kelly, for all his faults when he was there, would sometimes countermand Trump's orders after and go back and tell people, you can't do that, it's illegal. No, Mick Mulvaney is not doing that.
Well, and Don McGahn would write memos saying you can't prosecute Hillary Clinton, or you can't. I mean, those people are gone?
They're gone, and you see in this story people at CBP, the Customs and Border Protection Agency, most of whom there are civil servants who are just acceding to his wishes and just outright telling the Corps of Engineers, you have to get this done before the election. That's not something civil servants should be taking into consideration.
The Washington Post story, and it's worth everybody reading every word of it 3 times like I did, also reveals sort of the high-low of Trump's mind. The high-tech crime being engage in criminal conduct, seize land. They're mostly farmers, I think, along the border. Seize land from farmers illegally, and I'll pardon you for the federal crimes involved. You're right. There may be Texas laws broken in that too, or other border states. But then there's also the lowbrow Trump, and make it black and shiny and spiky and pretty.
Yeah. So he's corrupt and stupid. To be honest with you, I mean, there's a level of shallowness here that is evidenced. I mean, we know that he has no curiosity whatsoever. We know that he revels in his ignorance. That's why he thinks he can rely on his gut. We know that he's out of his depth in every room, every crowd, every space he happens to step into. and he's willing to break any law to pursue his own agenda. So the combination of ignorance, corruption, and sheer selfishness and greed is a deadly combination for our democracy. So what's so, and I've said this on the show before, what's so unsettling about it, Nicole, is that it goes to the heart. It goes to the heart of undermining our democracy, right? And the question for us is, what are we going to do? What are the civil servants doing? Right? They're afraid to get fired? Are they just going to execute Stephen Miller's and President Trump's orders? What are we doing to stop it? Because we do know that it's corrupt. It's, in some instances, it's criminal. In other instances, it's ignorant. Right? I mean, we can go down the line. So when I read it, I actually shuddered.
Well, I guess I don't want to be too sort of in the weeds, but our viewers are way down in the weeds with us at this point. For it to get out means someone was disturbed.
Yeah.
Okay. So having worked in the Bush years, controversial war on terror policies, whenever people in the CIA or other government agencies were uncomfortable, it would show up in the New York Times or the Washington Post. So the fact that we're reading about it means that somebody else shuddered.
Yeah.
But I guess the question, Karine, is you know, this sort of calling Donald Trump lawless, I think is something that Donald Trump and his allies successfully suggested was sort of the hysteria of the left. No, this is in Donald Trump's own words. This is Donald Trump promising a pardon. He too knows that he is now lawless.
Oh yeah, I mean, and I'll add one more thing. It's criminality, it's stupidity, it's ignorance, and he's also desperate. Right?
Correct.
He's incredibly desperate. He's doing all of this to make sure, all for himself, it's all personal, to make sure he gets reelected, because guess what may happen if he doesn't get reelected? I think Matt could talk about that a lot more better than I can, but that's what we're seeing. We're seeing an incredibly desperate man. That's why we're seeing the high and the lows and the bizarreness and the wheels coming off the crazy bus.
They really are.
Because he's thinking about this.
But if the wheels come off now, there are 14 months left.
It's going to get darker.
For the election.
Right.
Yeah.
So we're just going to drag the bus
it's going to get
road.
darker.
But I mean, I'm going to take a leap and say that we all don't monitor the kinds of folks that Trump monitors and feels that he answers to. But here's Rush Limbaugh and Ann Coulter on the importance of the wall.
This is an invasion. The very existence and definition of American culture, American society, the rule of law. Why does nobody talk about the fact that millions and millions and millions of people are breaking the law coming here illegally?
Now more than ever, we need a massive wall. It's a common sense strategy that actually works. The president has long promised now to build that wall, and now he's fighting to do just that. He's fighting for what's right.
He is dead in the water if he doesn't build that wall. Dead, dead, dead.
So that's who he's answering to, because I think sometimes some people look around and they say, why? You know, he shut down the government over a wall and he didn't get a dime. I think he ended up with less. That's why.
Yeah, and he clearly believes that. I mean, it's clear. You don't take these kind of steps telling people that just break the law and I'll pardon you unless you really believe you have to get this done. I think that goes to the point Gene was just making that I started out with, which is with 14 months to go, this is what he feels he has to get the wall to win re-election. If he feels he has to turn the economy around, go down the list of the things that he thinks he might need to win re-election. If he is this unconstrained by the law, he obviously is unconstrained by any personal ethics or morality. Well, is there anything you can imagine he wouldn't do? Any abuse of power that would be, too far of an overreach for him to take? I can't think of any.
And what does it make you think about the debate about impeachment?
It makes me think that it's not even necessarily about impeachment. Because I don't think you're going to constrain him in the next 14 months. You're not going to do anything to keep him from acting the way he acts. What the Congress has to do is have such aggressive oversight of the administration, trying to call for testimony, not just people in the president's inner circle, but all up and down these agencies, down through the civil service ranks, so people all through the government know that when the president gives you an illegal order, you better not follow it, even if he promises you a pardon.
The problem with that is they stonewall it.
Yeah.
They're stonewalling the aggressive oversight.
They are, but the people in the agencies who are going to be there after the election know that Donald Trump can stonewall, but if he loses, they're still there, and Congress may come after them.
But let's not lose sight of another aspect of this, because he sent out, the campaign sent out a mailer to his supporters declaring this is our country, not theirs. So the idea of the wall reflects his desperation. Those people that he's speaking to, right, when he sends out an email saying this is our country, not theirs, that's a sign we're 14 months out. And he's played that card.
Already.
It's going to get darker. It's going to get nasty.
Hey there, I'm Chris Hayes from MSNBC. Thanks for watching MSNBC on YouTube. If you want to keep up to date with the videos we're putting out, you can click subscribe just below me or click over on this list to see lots of other great videos.